Good morning, everybody. It is November 6th, 8:10 a.m. We finally have a president. We finally have a president. This election is finally, we can move on. That's good. We can move on from the election, get ready to a more normalized market. Of course, the VIX got crushed. That was probably expected. Like I said, hedges came off. Markets going nuts because of Trump being elected. Crypto's going wild. And this is a crazy day. Good morning to everybody. All right, we're going to get into it. We got a chart to look at that's wild. So we'll take a look at that. All right, so without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in these markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That's my edge. Just helps me find structure in the markets, right? It's the way I like to look at the markets. Okay. And once that once I look at the markets like that, that's going to determine if I put risk on, right? When the market opens. That's a whole nother analysis, right? So once I do that, I combine it with the blueprint, then I can put risk on, right? So I promised you guys I have 4 videos coming out. 2 of them dropped. I already edited and exported 2 of them, so you could check that out. All right, check out those videos. I dropped them on my X account. All right, at Gonzo719. I put them on my YouTube Shorts. Also put them on my TikTok, Gonzo719 Trader. So there's 2 videos that there. Okay. Now the one I made an error on one of the graphics. It says like September 30th, I believe on there or something like that. It should be October 21st. That was an error. But that's from an October 21st trade. And then the next one I just dropped yesterday was, I think, October 31st. And then I remember I still have 2 more that I'm going to put out. Okay. So check those out. All right. Now, every day I do this at 8:10 a.m. Hopefully, you guys can join me. We can build this market profile, volume profile army up here, right? Subscribe, set an alert, have a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea, have a cup of water, do whatever you want to drink in the morning. You want to work out, you want to drive, you going to work. Listen to your boy. I'll give you the recap of the markets, what's going on in the news, right? Why things are happening. What's the story of the market? We'll go over watch lists, right? We'll go over daily charts, news, economic calendars, upgrades, downgrades. Main event at 8:30 a.m. is the Nasdaq and ES futures analysis. That is where I do the blueprint for long and short trade scenarios. Okay, and then of course the market opens. That's new data, and that's what we do here. All right. So if you enjoy my content, please smash that like button. That would be much appreciated. Okay. Now let's get right into it, folks. Let's get right into the futures watch list. And what do we have going here? All right. We have Ether leading the pack up 8.61%, followed by Bitcoin up 7.03%, almost up 75 to 75K. The Russell skyrocketed. It's interesting the Russell skyrocketed, right? Because the Russell is very interest rate sensitive, and 10-year yield, 30-year all have risen pretty high. So that's interesting there. Okay. Look right under it. The 10-year yield is up 3.46%. That's going to drive up mortgage rates. That is pretty interesting when you have the yields rising, market rising, dollar rising. Okay, interesting there, right? Now, that brings us to the Dow. The Dow is up 3%. The ES is up 2.14%. The dollar is up 1.85%. So interesting, right? You got higher yields, a higher dollar, and a higher dollar and higher yields aren't usually bullish for the markets. Okay, but I understand it because of President Trump. Okay. NASDAQ up 1.65. Interesting that the NASDAQ, right, is the weakest out of all the ones that are strong. It's only up 1.67. Okay. Now that brings us to 30-year bonds, right? That is down almost 2%. People are selling 30-year bonds. All right. Also, what's being sold here is gold. Gold's down 2.2%. Also being sold is crude. Okay, because Trump's promise is to drill baby drill, and he wants to really amp up the drilling in America, and that should make oil cheaper, gas cheaper, right? So it's interesting because you'll have like crude might fall, but like a stock that I own like Chevron will benefit, right? So silver is down 4%, and the VIX is getting crushed down 22.55%, all the way down to 15, right? That's the hedges being taken off. That's the VIX getting crushed, okay? That's what's going on in futures. Moving on to the Mag 7 Plus. Who's the little leader here? And that is Tesla. Tesla, obviously, Elon's a integral part of Trump's team, and they're up 12.8%. Okay, monster move here. Now, followed by Coinbase is up 12%. Coinbase up 12% because Trump is very big proponent of Bitcoin and crypto. Okay, JP Morgan up 6.6%. GE up 3.16. Okay, GE. Berkshire Hathaway up 2.84. Google's up 2.22. Microsoft up 1.44. AMD up 1.31. Broadcom up 1.09. Nvidia's up 1.05. Eli Lilly up 0.94. Netflix up 0.93. Boeing's up 0.37. Apple's up 0.39. Amazon's up 0.23. And Meta is down almost 1%. Now I'm not sure why. Maybe someone can tell me why. Let's see here. I'm trying to think off the top of my head right now. I can't really think Meta would be down unless there's some news or downgrade or something that I don't know, or Trump related why Meta would be down. Um, but it is. All right. Moving on to the top sector stocks. All right. Here we go. Morgan Stanley. So financials getting love today. Morgan Stanley's up 8.65, followed by Goldman Sachs up 7.22. So financials really getting some love here. Obviously, with yields rising, mortgage rates rising, right? United Healthcare up 6.17%. Wow, that's a big move for United Healthcare. CAT Industrial up 6.03. Visa's up 4.09. Snowflake up 2.64. Disney's up 1.73. Qualcomm's up 1.68. Salesforce up 1.52. Chevron up 1.36. Walmart up 1.22. And Exxon up 1.17. And Johnson & Johnson up 1.05. McDonald's up 0.90. Costco up 0.77. And PepsiCo up 0.27. Now the laggards here, UPS down 0.59. Home Depot's down 0.65. Uber is down 0.74. Okay, let's go to the swing trade list. I'm sure crypto related stocks are going to be skyrocketing here. All right, well, Donald Trump stock alone is up 31.41%. Wow. Okay, followed by Discover Financial. So financials are just flying today. Okay, Robinhood up 11.78%. Humana Healthcare up 11.49. Riot. I don't know if that's because. All right, there you go. Thanks for that tip, Scoop. Metaslam with another fine for mishandling user data. Okay. Uh, Riot. Okay, now I don't know because Trump was talking about getting rid of some type of healthcare or something like that. Even though he said he wasn't, I don't know. I'm just saying that's the only thing I can think right now with healthcare. So here we go. Humana's up big, 11.49. Riot up 10.71. Here's Capital. I think this is Capital One, up 10.57. So MicroStrategy up 10.40. Mara Mining up 10.34. CVS reported earnings. So I used to own that. That thing just heartbreak, gives you a heartbreak every time. But that is up 10.23. Citibank up 8.81. That is Western Alliance. That's a regional bank, up 8.71. Now the regional bank ETF up 7.64. Okay. That was why Russell will move with the regional bank ETF. Bank of America up 6.83. A big SoFi up in 6.4, 6.74. All right. Bitcoin ETF, obviously, Affirm up big, Soundhound up big, AIG up big, American Airlines, ARC. All right. I'm not going to sit here. There's a lot of up. Okay. Let's go to if there's laggards here. There are. Supermicro Computers reported earnings. Okay. And it got downgraded as well. They are down 20.47%. This is crazy. They are down to like $22 a share. For solar, okay, so solar energy stocks getting hit with Trump, okay, down 13.43% for solar. Five Below is down 13. Sorry here. Enphase down 13.12. For solar's down 13%. Five Below down 13%. Wayfair down 8%. Tilray down 6.21. NEE, NextEra Energy down 5.91. Celsius, they reported earnings down 4.48. Gold Junior Miners down 3.13. Alibaba down 2.88. Maybe Trump with tariffs and stuff like that. Uh, TLT down 2.87. Gold down 2.28. That's an energy down. Let's see. Taiwan Semiconductors down. That's Taiwan. I think this is Bed Bath Beyond or Best Buy. I can't remember what this would. That's down. Williams Sonoma, Stellantis, Lennar's down. Dollar Tree down. All right. That's going to wrap that up. Moving on to sectors, the guts of the market. Let's look at it. Financials, like I said, seems like the biggest winner this morning. They are up 5.69%. That's huge. That is just huge. I mean, 2% would be huge. 5.65%. That's monster. That's a monster. Okay. Followed by industrials. Followed by industrials. Okay. 3.31. Followed by discretionary. 2.27. Followed by healthcare. 2.18. Energy up 2.14. Basic materials up 1.80. Technology up 1.59. So interesting. Technology is not leading this, right? Communications up 1.47. Semiconductors up 1.12. So semis not getting huge amounts of love. All right. They're up, but they're one of the laggards here. Laggard being relatively weaker than the other strong ones, right? Real estate, not really up much, 0.46. Staples, up 0.17. And the big lagger is utilities. Now, that is happening most likely because yields are skyrocketing. So whenever yields go up, you might want to get out of utilities, but we still have rate cuts on the horizon. So that's what's going on with sectors. All right, moving on to the economic calendar today. Today is light. We have crude inventories at 10:30, but at 1 p.m. I hope if I'm in a great trade, I'm in a great trade. But I hope I'm done after a great trade. 30-year bond auction at 1 p.m. 30-year bond auction at 1 p.m. Now the 30-year. Let me just put it up here. Let me just see what the 30-year yield is at. Because that rose pretty significantly as well. All right, the 30-year is at 4.5 yield. 4.5 yield. Very, very interesting. Okay. Now tomorrow you have FOMC. All right, initial jobless claims, FOMC, followed by the press conference tomorrow. Okay, so that is big data, and this market is crazy. Now this is after an election, so that makes sense, right? Juice doesn't really have much for us. Let's look at if the here has anything else here. Let's see here. There we go. All right, let's look at this news together. Trump and media technology stocks soared 35%, which owns the Truth Social platform and primarily owned by Donald Trump, soared 30%. Tesla stock rose 14%, with the electric vehicle giant viewed as a key beneficiary of a Trump win. A CEO, Elon Musk, major backer of the former president's campaign. Citigroup, here we go. Citigroup, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo all rose over 8% as investors waged that the new Trump presidency would result in less regulation in the banking sector. There you go. Coinbase, stock rose 13% with the cryptocurrency exchange helped by Bitcoin climbing to a record high as Trump has positioned himself as a pro cryptocurrency. For solar, stock fell 14%, falling along with other renewable energy firms, with Trump expected to roll back many of the climate regulations passed under President Joe Biden. There you go. Supermicro Computer stock fell 23% after the server equipment maker cut its guidance for the fiscal first and second quarters, even as it said an internal probe found no evidence of fraud from the management of directors following concerns raised by its auditor. Rivian stock fell 4.6 after the EV manufacturer expected to report on Thursday its first drop in quarterly revenues since going public 3 years ago. Novo Nordisk stock rose 2.3 after the drug maker's CEO said it's lifting curbs on prescriptions of the weight loss drug Wegovy in the United States and is increasing supply in that market. Alrighty, there's some news, right? So why don't we round it out with the earnings? Okay, so earnings, let's just look at it real quick. So after the close yesterday, Supermicro Computer, Devon Energy, Coupang, iRobot all reported. Now today, this morning, Celsius reported, Novo Nordisk, we just talked about, CVS Health, Teva, and Toyota all reported this morning. Now today, after the close, you got a semi, ARM, AMC, a meme stock, Qualcomm, a semi, and that's about it. And tomorrow morning before the open, you have Moderna, Barrick, Gold, Datadog, Halliburton, Hershey. Okay, that's tomorrow. Okay. Now, what was I going to go over? Oh, yeah. Let's look at any upgrades and downgrades here. Let's look at those together. AstraZeneca got upgraded. Clorox got upgraded from a sell to a hold. And Snowflake got upgraded from neutral to a buy. Let's look at downgrades together. Five Below, downgraded. Supermicro Computer, downgraded from $50 to $23. Neutral to underweight. All right. Initiations, let's look at that. Tandem Diabetes, look at the Outperform. Price target at 42. All right, look at price target changes. We'll look at raises first. ON, target raised from 47 to 53. Lululemon, target raised from 350 to 380. Illumina, target raised. Emerson Electric, target raised. All right, target lowered here. Let's see here. Marathon Petroleum, target lowered. Let's see here. All right, that's about it there. I think we're going to move on here. We can move on to daily charts. Move on to the daily charts. So let me make sure there's nothing else here that I can tell you guys about. All right, let's go to those dailies. And this ain't going to matter much, but we're going to talk about it really quickly because we're gapping up so big. Now, the one thing I am regretting and I'll show you in the futures, is this monster support level right here, where we bottomed at the other day. I was long in futures there when I showed you the futures. I should have kept a runner on, because that support level was probably the bottom and we were going to go up, and that's exactly what happened regardless of who won the election. So that was probably worth, I had no risk. I probably should have did that. Okay, so let's look what happened yesterday. So yesterday we kind of opened up and just kind of pushed up, right? The market was pretty much overall strong, anticipating whoever won, right? So that's what we did yesterday, right? Kind of pierced through the 90 EMA daily, right? Into this gap. There was a gap above us, right? So we only partially filled the gaps, a little tiny amount. Okay. Now, where are we at now? 589.60. 589.60. We are all the way, even out of this, we're up here. We're all the way up here. New all-time highs. 589.60. All the way up here. No resistance ahead of us. Okay. Now, if we look at futures, you're going to see a trade video that I came out with the other day. So if we look at this support here in futures to the left. Remember I was talking about this? I was long this day here, I believe. I was long at, I think, 50. Let me see here. What was the low here? So I think 57.30 something. All the way down here. I was long. And I should have kept a runner on there. And I just would have been enjoying this move. Okay, let's get rid of this. That doesn't belong there. All right, so big move. Huge. Getting a little wick here. All-time highs in futures. Big resistance here was about 59.26. Okay, you can see that was last month's highs. So we're right at last month's highs, which is 59.27, right here. Right at last month's highs. Not right there, above it. Holding above it. Okay? So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen today. Crazy. Do we just keep going? I mean, I don't know. Moving on to the Qs. Okay? Now, the Qs also had a big support it bounced off of. And then yesterday, you see it hit the 20-day simple moving average. Found resistance right there. Tried to start to go into this gap. Couldn't do it, right? Where is the Qs? 501.20. 501.20. So the Qs is right here. Right at last month's highs. Still not at all-time highs. Still not at all-time highs. Crazy. Okay, so all the way up here. So now you have a gap that you didn't fill, and you're gapping over a gap, right? Let's look at the NASDAQ futures. You can see right here, look at that support. Oof. Right off the 50 and 100-day moving average, right off last week's lows. Boom. Right now in futures, you haven't hit last month's and last week's highs, right? Coming up to it. So that 207.88 level in futures will be very important. Okay, that could be resistance today. Have to see. Big move though, right? You can all see that. Big resistance. Look at that. Oh boy. You bought down here, held it. Nice move, right? Okay, I think we're ready for the triple headed, which is crazy right now. Let's put up that 10-year yield. Oh my lord. Look at that. Look at that bar. Found resistance right at this level. We just have to see. All right, here's a triple headed. Now, you look to the left. That's big resistance here. Big time resistance at 4.47 yield. Look to the left. That is big time. So it came up there and got resistance. Okay. What we do from here, I don't know, right? Because we are going having cuts, folks. We still have cuts. So we just have to see what goes on with this craziness. Okay, I think I put it up, but I'm not sure. We'll just do it again. And now we'll look at the dollar. Now the dollar is getting love and it broke out of that range. Look at that. Look at that big move in the dollar. Hit resistance right here at this level of 105.32. Okay, that has resistance there. All right, and that could mean one thing: the euro is tanking, and the yen may be tanking. But I know definitely the euro is. Let's look at the euro. There's a big drop. Look at that candle. Boom, right through the 200-day moving average. Wham, right to this support. Right. Let's look at the yen. See what that's doing. Yen's falling a little bit. Now the yen against the dollar is not as big as the euro, so that's why that's happened. Now let's look at our. Let's go back to our hedge gauge, and you got the VIX crush here. Look at that. Boom. All the way down here to a 15.79 VIX right at the 200-day moving average. That was expected. The hedges are off now. Okay? Hedges are off, and we got to see what this market does. All right. Now it brings us to the main event now. Let's go to it. And let's look at this crazy futures market and analyze it together. Okay? Here we are. Big move up. Okay? Big move up. Let me get my marker out. And we'll look at some type of structure here. I mean, this is just a monster move. So, whenever you get a monster move like this, a monster gap like this, obviously, right off the bat, I like to look at the midpoint of the overnight session. That's the 50% retracement. And what happens to be that 50% retracement, 58.84, 50 in futures, right here, that's the mid, lines up with the demand zone, lines up with the most traded price of the month. Okay, that's roughly 58.78. That's the most traded price of the last 30 days, the last month. Okay, that's why the market kind of paused there before it took another leg higher. So that's very important level. Now you have single prints here. Okay, so this would be your defense for buyers, right? They don't want to see it below here. Okay, from here you can see the volume gets thinned out, and now look, we're establishing value up here around 59.40. You can see the most traded price is up here. Okay, if we're going to judge this by inventory, we're close to 95% net long here. Everybody's long. Everybody's long actually from here, from here, from here. Okay, and we're holding the top of the session. Now, this could set up for a nice correction. You have a supply zone here that formed as well. Okay, so those are some levels that I'm looking at, right? Because yesterday's session is all the way back here. So gap fill would be 58.22. That's yesterday's highs. We closed at the highs. We closed at the highs. Okay, that would be a very big gap fill. I mean, this is a monster move, and these are not easy to trade. Okay, now you can see right here last month's highs. Last month's highs. Okay, this is last week's highs. Last week's highs, last month's highs. I love having those on my charts now. I love it. Okay, so what the market needs to do now, speaking of structure, most traded price of the week was here, right? 57.60. It needs to bring that price up there. Okay, you need to establish value up there, or price will return back to value. Okay, it's just curious if this is going to be profit taking this morning or more buying. That's really what I'm going to really look at. Okay, Now, like I said, here was the gap, prior gap. You ate into it a little bit. It was like right here. It was like you ate a little bit into it, and now you're gapping up, right? So gap rules, to talk about it, but it's such a big gap that I mean, it could be a gap and go, but I mean to get all the way back here it would be monumental move. Okay, so like I said, the important levels today are the 50% retracement, 58.8450, most traded price of the month, and this demand at 58.78. Okay, and it's very significant that we're almost 100% net long, and we're at the top of the range with this price being the most traded price. Okay, so that's really what I want to talk about today. And so we're going to construct now the scenarios here. Okay, let's just get right into it. All right, so we're going to talk for the bull case first. Now, we know we have the most trades up here at around 59.41, 59.40, right here. Okay, you can see it, the most volume is traded. That's longs. I'm going to assume those are longs. Obviously, there could be shorts in there as well, but I'm gonna assume that they are longs. Okay. Now we know we're 100%. I'm just gonna say 100% net long. Very frothy at all-time highs. Okay. We do have an excess up here. So what I'm gonna think is this: you have supply here, so we could push up into the supply, maybe even nip the overnight high, make all-time highs in real-time trading hours, do a lower high, and if we come through that most traded price, 59.41, with some volume and some weakness, I could see a correction. Okay, I see a correction. Now, can you bounce off last month's uh, highs? Possibly, right? And then try to make a move, right? I think what most likely is we do we correct. And if we go into this area, remember the midpoint, 58.8450, 58.78 is the most traded price of the month, and you have a demand zone here. And you can see the amount of volume here in this orange profile. Okay, that's why it's the most traded price of the month. This gets defended, bounce, hold, we can go back up and establish value around here. Okay, I think that's all I'd really want to be interested in a long. Now, of course, we could gap and go, we could push up, come back, and maybe test this 59.41 to maybe go up a little higher. Okay, but I'm just going to be super patient and read the internals today because this is not easy to trade this big of a gap. It's not easy. Okay, so if we go to the short, it's just going to be the inverse. Okay, because now, again, remember what I said: longs getting paid, longs getting paid, longs getting paid, 100% net long. You know, these are longs up here. Most traded price is 59.41, and we do have excess. We're at the top of the range. This sets up for a nice correction. So like I said, this could come into this supply, push up to the new times, lower high, and then you ride that puppy. All this thin volume, you ride it all the way to 58.78, the most traded price of the month. Now, if you hold it and break, you got single prints here. You can come all the way back and test yesterday's lows. Okay, and what would that be? Why is that? Because of Elfie. Can a toothpick hold up an elephant? No. Okay, so you have thin volume here and really thin volume here. Now the market has to be weak to do this, right? But two things would happen here. You get shorts coming in and people taking profits could fuel that move all the way down. Okay? And that's just to the overnight lows. Right? What would be really scary is if it took out the most traded price of yesterday, which is about 5,800, and rip all the way back down. That would be something. Okay. I don't know if that will happen at all. Right. I just have to put it in my mind about this poor structure. Okay. That is your ES. Now, let's go to the NASDAQ. All right. Now, the NASDAQ, remember, did not make all time highs. And the structure, we got our move here, right? Thin volume and values down here. Okay. Now we know the big move. You can see right here yesterday, pulled right off the most traded price of the week and pushed up, right? Closed here. Okay. Had a gap, didn't fill it. Okay. Now the most traded price of the month in the Qs is 204.90. Right here, you can see all this volume right here in orange. The midpoint, the 50% retracement of the NASDAQ is 205.2750. So this area is defense for the bulls. Okay, now look. You got a lot of volume up here. You're not as long. Look at that. You have short activity here. Actually, not that much. Hold on. Here's the low. All right, so it's probably like 85% net long. Thin volume, and you're up here at the highs, with 206.89 being the most traded price. Okay, so very frothy move. Now, I do have to mention this. It came in. See, here's last month's highs. And it came right into this supply zone right here. And that's a 12-hour supply zone. That's a pretty strong one. And it's fresh. It's never been tested. That's why it kind of sold off a little bit here. So remember, it's not at all-time highs, the NASDAQ. Okay, not at all-time highs. Gap fills 203.86 all the way down here. So very similar setup as the ES. Okay, so we'll get right into it and go right into scenarios because I feel like it's going to be repetitive. Okay. Now remember, a 12-hour supply zone is very strong and it's fresh. Okay. I have to keep that in my mind. A 12-hour supply zone. That is a very powerful supply zone. Okay. Now, anything can happen. Markets could be super strong and blow right through it, right? So, but look at it again. If I'm long here, lower high, lower high, lower high, and you're up here. Just got to think of that. If I'm long and I see any kind of weakness, what am I going to do? Take profit or am I going to hold on? Probably going to take profit. But like I said, we have to see. Okay. So I don't know if I did it already. I think I did, but we're going to do it again. Let's get right into scenarios. Okay. We're going to start with the longs. And again, we have our big supply here. So like I said, I think we can push up here. Maybe tap the 12-hour supply. Come down. Now, I would say in the NASDAQ, if you can hold this right here, you hold, try to go lower high, then you're going to try to tap the end of this supply zone around 207.89 and try to make all-time highs up here, though. You got a while to make that. That's one. Okay? That's one that's realistic. Now remember, the other one is your 50% retracement with the most traded price of the month, that 204.90, right? So if we get that correction, boom, and you come through that most traded price, you're going to get probably a correction down to here. And you want to see what the market does with this. If it goes like this, boom, recovers, higher low, then you can start making your way up here. Do I think we break out all the way if we do that? No. I think we start building value up here. Okay? And that's what I think. It could happen. Okay? Let's go to the bear case. Now remember, we have longs getting paid all the way up here, and now we have the most traded price up here. There's a longs. We do have excess. We have 12-hour supply. We are 85% net long tonight. Okay, so what I want to see is a push up, make new all-time. No, that's not all-time highs. Make overnight highs, beat them out, and but then if you get a little correction and you start getting weak, it's really important what do we do with this 206.85 level, the most traded price of the overnight. If you come through it and hold, you're gonna probably start to come down here, and you're gonna test the most traded price of the month and the midpoint of yesterday, of the overnight session. Okay, all what happens here, if it gets defended, lower high, lower high. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the bear case. Let's talk about it as if it's a bear. You can see the volume here, right? If you come through here, boom, push that through, you could fill that gap. That was the old gap. Go into this demand, right? You got thin volume here and start working your way down. If you can break that demand, you're going to go all the way back down to 201.50. I don't, like I said, this is not what I think is going to happen. Just got to be cognizant that it can. This does not have beautiful foundation here. It's thinny thin, right? So Elfie's back in the mix here. Okay, elephant being held up by a toothpick. But remember, whenever the toothpick gets held up by whenever the elephant gets held up by the toothpick, that is bullish. Okay, just remember, it cuts both ways. If the toothpick's strong enough, then oh wait, this toothpick's strong. This is bullish. If it's weak, the market will that toothpick doesn't stand a chance. So it cuts both ways. It's not just one way. Okay. All right. That's it, folks. That is it for today. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that analysis. If you did, smash that like button. Smash that like button. All right. Now, as always, we got our plan. I'm going to sit back, really wait and be patient and let this market set up and tell me what to do. I want the market to tap me on the shoulder and say short here because it's your edge, or long here because this is your edge. And whenever I'm like trying to make deals with the market, well, maybe that's not a trade. Okay? But sometimes that little devil on my shoulder, it makes me hit the mouse button sometimes. And I'm going to always try to limit that, because I know when my edge is present and I just got to act on it. It's worth the risk. Okay? So we have that today. All right? Just keep in mind it's a wild market. Big gaps up, big gap up, big gaps up. I don't know why I can't figure out how to say that. When you have these large gaps, okay, they're hard to read. All right? It's like you got people really long, people want to short. It's like it gets crazy. Okay? So we have our plan. Now, as far as another trading video, I have 2 more coming. I'm going to drop another one today, later on today. Then I have another one. Okay, so hopefully you guys check those out. And I'm going to post them. All right. That's on my X at Gonzo719. Also my YouTube Shorts. Check that out. Also on TikTok. Okay, that's Gonzo719 Trader. Gonzo719 Trader. Please check those out. I think they're very educational. I think I do a pretty good job of laying out of why I trade it. Now, of course, I'm trying to make 200 subs. Please subscribe, set an alert. Come join your boy every day at 8, 10 a.m. I give you the lowdown of the market, the story of the market, the news, all that. Give you the recap of what happened yesterday. And we give you the blueprint for today. So hopefully you can join me every morning. All right, everybody have a great day. Stay green. No trades a trade. I'll see you guys tomorrow and girls tomorrow.